Welcome back to the Joy of Vinyl. I'm Rick Coste. I had a conversation the other day, and the subject of music came up, as it always does. We were talking about Boston's first album, and I made the comment, I wore the grooves off that album. I mean, it was a weird thing to say because that's impossible, right? Wearing the groove off? But can you play an album to the point where you actually do wear it out? So much so that you have to replace it? Well, let's talk a little bit about that.
I remember bragging that I played Deep Purple's Perfect Strangers album so much that I wore it out and had to buy a new one. I still have both copies of that record to prove it. I listened to them recently back to back to see if I could tell the difference all these years later, because I had no idea which was the first one I bought and which one was the second one I bought. I couldn't tell the difference, not when it came to clarity and depth. One of the two had a few more pops and hisses on the lead in groove, but that certainly had nothing to do with wear and tear from overplay. I have no idea which one of the two is supposed to have been the worn out one I bragged about over 30 years ago, and I also don't know what I was thinking or whom I meant to impress, or even why they would be impressed by me saying that I had worn the groove out. In today's terms, it's a weird flex. So the question is, can you? Is it possible to play a record so much that you wear the grooves out? Ready for the short answer? Yes, it is possible. But there is a longer answer to that question, and it starts with don't worry about it. Playing a record you enjoy over and over will not lead to dire straits. Now, I can't say there's nothing to worry about. We've looked at a few of the things we should care about, like replacing our stylus. A dull or compromised stylus can ruin both you and your record's day. And we also want to take care of our records. That means storing them upright and not flat. Storing records flat on top of each other can lead to warpage. Proper care might mean ditching the paper inner sleeve it came with and replacing it with an archival quality sleeve. All of my records are protected by the sleeves from the good folks at a company called Invest in Vinyl. You can find them on Amazon. Or check out the website, I have it all there. Another thing to care about is the quality of the equipment we play our records on. There are some terrible turntables and record players out there. There are brands to avoid and brands you can trust. So do some research or drop me a line. I'm always happy to help or give some recommendations based on both my own research and also my experience. Another thing is to check the tracking force of your stylus. I picked up a nifty little gadget that was recommended to me called a tracking force gauge. And this allows you to measure the tracking force your stylus applies to the record. You can check with the manufacturer of your stylus for the proper tracking force. If it's too much or too little, your turntable's tone arm hopefully has an attached weight to adjust it. I'm currently using an Ortofon Red stylus, which has a recommended tracking force between 1.6 to 2 grams. The recommended setting is 1.8. I have mine set at about 1.87. Why not 1.8? I guess I like the little bit extra, but I would never push it. I think the added zero point 0.7 comes from the fact that I used to do a little cringeworthy thing as a cringeworthy hack back in the day when I had a turntable with a non-adjustable tone arm. And this was when I was a kid. I'd tape a dime to the head shell. This was in the pre-internet days, and I have no idea who told me to do that, but it worked. But it was probably extremely bad on the records. It might have been way too much weight, and it's not like I measured anything back then. I was a kid who didn't know better, and I thought records were indestructible. But I digress. Tracking force matters. I've heard of record players, popular ones on the market today, with tracking forces double to triple the recommended grams. Now, will they ruin your records? Well, maybe, if you play that record over and over under an extremely high tracking force. Vinyl grooves are susceptible to damage, as we all know. If they weren't, we wouldn't worry about scratches. The bottom line of all of this is really don't worry too much about it. If you enjoy your records and you take care of them and the equipment you play them on, they will last a very long time. I bought Blue Oyster Cult's Fire of Unknown Origin back before I knew any of this. I was always careful in how I handled it, even then, but I played that record on many different setups. Some were good and some were horrible in hindsight. That record has seen a lot of playing conditions and environments. Now, when I put it on my turntable today, it sounds as good as it ever did. After years of extended play, it has never worn out.
Now, if you enjoy vinyl records as much as I do, feel free to subscribe. And if you would like to know when new episodes are released, also click on the little bell icon below. And until next time, please take care of yourself and enjoy your records.